watching today's video. I am going to show you my curated autumnal TBR. This pile right here is the books that I haven't read but have those autumnal vibes to them. And then this small pile of books here is the ones that I did read from last year. So the first one that we're going to start off is a very popular book that I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about, and this is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I read it last year and it changed my life. The next one that I read last autumn is Bluets by Maggie Nelson. This one I absolutely adored. It's written by a poet, which you know the prose are going to be just beautiful. The next book that I got the book signed by the author ML Rio. It was such a fun experience. It was actually my first book signing event that I went to last year. Villains by ML Rio. I have two copies, this one and another one that's on my bookshelf. It's a hardback. This is the paperback edition, and as you can tell I highlighted, tabbed it, so I really adored it. For those of you that don't know about this book, it's kind of similar to The Secret History, and no, I didn't put The Secret History in this TBR because I'm sure you've seen that in like hundreds of other videos. So the next one is a classic. I'm sure you guys got recommended a bajillion times by me by now, but it's Dracula by Bram Stoker, and you already know what it's about, so I'm not gonna go through it, but it's one of my ultimate favorite classics. The next book is one that Taylor Swift recommended, and she actually wrote one of her songs called Tolerate It after this book, and this is Rebecca by Daphne de Maurier. I just say it in like the most French way possible. It took me a while to get through this book because it was so beautiful and dense and I didn't want it to end. But this is such autumnal vibes. Like it gives like gothic mansion. Next read is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I absolutely love this book. It was everything that I wanted in an autumnal read. These are all the ones I have not yet read. So the first one is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I've heard about this one so much. I still can't believe I haven't read it yet because I really want to get through it, but it's been like a whole year and I still haven't read it. I'm kind of intimidated by how big it is, so that's another reason. But I'll read you the synopsis in the back, and also I got it for very cheap. I only got this for £2, originally £8. Next one we have The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. I guess I can say it correctly. One night, exploring her father's library, a young woman finds an ancient book and a cache of yellowing letters addressed ominously to my dear and unfortunate successor. Her discovery plunges her into a world she never dreamed of, a labyrinth where the secrets of her father's past and her mother's mysterious fate connect to an evil hidden in the depths of history. So if you like anything that has to do with Dracula, I didn't read that much of it. I still have this on my TBR, but I'm so excited to get through it. The cover is so stunning. This was my third book that I purchased from Foyles. That was like my reading book. First I purchased Utopia, Dracula, and then The Historian. So this is very historic book for me because this was my third book that I picked up. One is Perfume by Patrick Siskin. I think I already mentioned this book to you last year, so I'm gonna skip the synopsis for now. But the cover is stunning. Very interesting read. Alrighty, the other book that will give autumnal vibes that is very iconic is Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I'm sure you guys already know what this is about. I think this one is going to be very interesting. I am so looking forward to reading the Harry Potter series. I have on this very long list of books is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily Daforth. This book is very dark academia vibes. If you love school settings and whatnot, I heard that this one's such a win. Very excited to read this one. I heard it's so good, very pretentious characters. First book of a series called Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I heard this one is very dark academia. So excited to read this one. Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont founded by an early 20th century tycoon for the best and brightest students around. When Ellingham's wife and daughter were kidnapped, the only clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder signed with the frightening words of Truly Devious. Their disappearance became one of the great unsolved crimes in history. Many years later, true crime professional Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. That is, she will solve it when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But Truly Devious makes a surprise return. The past has crawled out of its grave, and someone has gotten away with murder. Truly Devious is the first novel in a murder mystery trilogy by New York Times bestselling author Maureen Johnson. So one of my favorite booktubers, Sabine Booknook, you can go find her on YouTube. She has a fantastic channel. She read the series earlier this year, and she read the whole trilogy. But I read just a little bit from it. As you can tell, it's a bit tabbed, but I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it because it wasn't interesting. I just finished it because I got distracted by my long TBR. But I definitely want to get back into this one and give it another chance. Next book that I have is Caroline by Neil Gaiman. The cover on this is so cute. This is really giving me autumnal vibes. I love books. I love any book that has a gothic mansion. I think they're so beautiful, really gothic vibe. There is something strange about Caroline's new home. It's not the mist or the cat that always seems to be watching her, nor the signs of danger that Miss Spink and Miss Forcible is that the real name? That's funny. Her new neighbors read in the tea leaves. It's the other house, the one behind the old door in the drawing room. Another mother and father with black button eyes and peppery skin are waiting for Caroline to join them there. And they want her to stay with them forever. She knows that if she ventures through that door, she may never come back. I am so excited to read this book. This is going to be amazing. This read I haven't read because, as I said before, I'm not a big fantasy reader, and this one is just dark fantasy. The Stolen Air by Holly Black. I bought this in Romania. As you can see there, it's 51 lei. 8 years have passed since the Battle of the Serpent, but in the icy north, Lady Nor of the Court of Teeth has reclaimed the Ice Needle Citadel. There she is using an ancient relic to create monsters of stick and snow who will do her bidding and exact her revenge. Surin, Queen Child of the Court of Teeth and the one person with power over her mother, fled to the human world where she lives feral in the woods. Oak, now 17, is charming, beautiful, and manipulative. He's on a mission that will lead him into a citadel, and he wants Surin's help. But if she agrees, it will mean guarding her heart against the boy she once knew and a prince she cannot trust, as well as confronting all the horrors she thought she left behind. This will be an interesting book. I don't think I'll read it anytime soon because I'm not in the fantasy mood right now. I'm more into like contemporary and poetry right now, but this will be interesting, I think, in the winter. The next book is Sherlock Holmes Count Dracula by Christian Claver. This looks so fun. I can't believe I still haven't read it. It's just like, it has autumnal vibes like written all over this. I got really creeped up by the first chapter, so I needed to read it with the lights on. The next one is The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde. I bought this also in Romania for 30 lei. There you go. I love anything with the Gothic mansion. When the Americans Mr. and Mrs. Otis and their 4 children move into Canterville Chase, its previous occupant, Lord Canterville, warns them that the ghost of his ancestor still haunts the house. Their disbelief is soon shattered by the nightly sound of rattling chains in the hallways and the appearance of a mysterious bloodstain in the living room. However, the ghost struggles to intimidate his new victims as they counter his ghoulish behavior with typically transatlantic pragmatism, offering lubricator from his chains and cleaning up the stain with detergent. As the spirit is deserted by his capacity to scare Virginia, the daughter gets to know him and learns the tragic tale behind his sad fate. Sparkling with his trademark wit, the tale is one of Oscar Wilde's finest short stories. The next book that we have is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. In the land of Ingary, where 7-league boots and cloaks of invisibility really exist, Sophie Hayter attracts the unwelcomed attention of the witch of the castle, who puts a curse on her. Determined to make the best of things, Sophie travels to the one place where she might get help: the moving castle, which hovers on the nearby hills. Right, the next one is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I already started reading this one. So intriguing, such an interesting read on the humanity of the vampire and his relationship with Lestat. In a darkened room, the boy sits, waiting for the story to begin. His companion is a young man, cloaked in shadow, his voice low and soft. Only the pure white of his collar is visible in the gloom. The story of this man's life is about to be told, a story of a vampire. I heard Emmy on booktube talk about this one highly, so excited for this one. Right, so the next one is Our Violent Ends by Chloe Kong. I haven't had the opportunity to go meet her since all the tickets were sold out, but this is a signed edition. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. The synopsis is quite long, see that, but I love the sprayed edges here. I don't have too many books except for this one that has a sprayed edge. This one's black sprayed. This one is like orange sprayed, giving really autumnal vibes. Juliet has been a girl on the warpath. One wrong move and her cousin will usurp her place as a Scarlet Gang's heir. The only way to protect Roma and herself is to let the boy she loves believe she murdered his best friend in cold blood. Roma is still reeling from Marshall's death, and his cousin Benedict will barely speak to him. Roma blames himself for letting the ruthless Gillette back into his life, and he's determined to set things right, even if that means killing the girl he hates and loves with equal measure. Then a new monstrous danger emerges in the city. Shanghai is at a boiling point. The nationalists are marching in. Whispers of a civil war are brewing, and gangster rule faces complete annihilation. Roma and Juliet must put aside their differences to combat monsters and politics, but they aren't prepared for the biggest threat of all: protecting their hearts from each other. I'm so excited to read this because I am a big fan of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and I heard this is like retelling put in 1920s Shanghai, so I think that's very interesting and sounds really like there's a lot of action going on. One that I bought from Libreria. It's a lovely independent bookshop in London. This is Bunny by Mona Avard. I think the cover is so cute. It's like if you have this next to pumpkins, it's gonna like match perfectly. I think it's so cute. Samantha Heather Mackey is an outsider in her small, highly selective MFA program at Warren University. In fact, she is utterly repelled by the rest of her fiction writing cohort, a clique of unbearably twee rich girls who call each other Bunny. But then the Bunny's issue with her is an invitation, and Samantha finds herself explicitly drawn to their front door, across the threshold, and down the rabbit hole. Blending sharp satire with fairy tale horror, Bunny is a spellbinding trip of a novel from one of fiction's most original new voices. I heard so many good things about this book, and that it's very twisted and pretentious and very different, strange read, but I'm so excited to read this one. The next one, I love this one. I heard a lot of things about how easy it is to read this, so I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. Sometimes I'm intimidated by classics, but by reading a few that I have already, they're actually quite attainable. They're not as, you know, dense as you would think. Passionate, poetic, and revolutionary, Jane Eyre is a novel of naked emotional power. Its story of a defiant, fiercely intelligent woman who refuses to accept her appointed place in society and instead finds love on her own terms, but becomes famous as one of the greatest romances ever written. But it is a brooding gothic mystery, a profound depiction of character, and a transformative work of the imagination. The next book we have Girl with the Pearl, a novel by Tracy Chevalier. It's like this note inside. I got this secondhand, so kind of cute. It says, "Hello, kind reader." It doesn't have a synopsis on it, so I'm not going to read that, but I think it's very giving autumnal vibes to it. It doesn't have the synopsis in the back, but it's just giving very autumnal vibes, and that's what we're going for. Next one is Fang by Sarah Anderson. This is a comic book, and I absolutely love this one. It's so cute. The illustrations are adorable. It's a love story between a vampire and a werewolf. If you guys just want a break from reading and you want to read like a cute little comic strip that you can literally read this in one sitting, this is the one. Next one is, of course, the one and only Pride and Prejudice. Oh, you guys already know what this one's about. Utopia by Thomas More. I love this edition. It's giving very autumnal vibes. It looks like a pumpkin. Next book is Juniper and Thorn by Abba Reed, the Sunday Times best-selling author. Okay, I love how the cover looks. And what, this is one reason why I got this book, because of the cover. Don't do that, guys. Don't just buy a book because it has a beautiful cover. Next book is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is very dark academia vibes if you are going for that. This one's signed by the author as well, Libby. Once a decade, the world's best magicians are invited to join the elite Alexandrian society. Its members enjoy a lifetime of power and access to ancient secrets, but only 5 places are offered. So after recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, the candidates must complete a rigorous year of arcane study. Libby Rhodes and Nico de Verona are inseparable multiple enemies, and cosmetologists who can control matter with their minds. Parisa is a telepath. Rena understands the flow of life itself, and Column Nova can manipulate desires. Finally, there's Tristan Kane, whose powers must defy even himself. The rivals must survive their trials, and if they can prove themselves, they will. Most of them. Next is a book that I don't think I'll ever get to because I just never get around to it, but it's giving very much autumnal vibes from the cover. Along the Enchanted Way, a story of love and life in Romania. I think that is so cute. The little horse and buggy. When William Blacker first entered northern Romania, he discovered an almost medieval world. There for many years he lived alongside country people who treated him as one of their own. But Blacker was also drawn to the gypsies, those dark-foot blue strangers of spellbinding allure. Locals warned him to stay clear, but he fell in love, and there followed a bitter struggle. Along the Enchanted Way transports us back to a magical world that most of us thought had vanished long ago. It's a really cute story. Maybe I'll find time to read it during the autumn. We will see. Alright, book number 30 that I have on this list is The Bloody Chamber by the one and only you-know-who. I'm excited to read this one because I've never read an Angela Carter book, and I'm hearing about her a lot recently, so I am interested to dive into one of her works and see what they have in store and see if I actually like it. Maybe she might be a new favorite author of mine. You never know. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. À bientôt. Au revoir.